So here is my VW Transporter. I'm going to be selling this van because I've since bought a high top. This was my first camper van. I've had a couple of caravans in the past, but this is my first camper van. I bought it to see if I could actually get away with using a camper van, being tall, but I enjoyed it so much, just the ease and freedom of just being able to shut everything in the back and just get away for quick, cheap getaways. I've decided to go for a high top as well, just to give me that little bit of extra height. So I've decided to sell this tin top. So, just a quick roundup of it. It's a 2003 long wheelbase. It's in Tornado Red. The engine itself is the 102 horsepower version. It's the silver eye rather than the blue. And the engine itself, I haven't had any issues with it at all. It's just been up to Scotland and back a couple of times with me, but it's barely been used just as a second vehicle. And now it's basically getting turned into a third vehicle because of the high top as well. So just going around the outside of it itself, the wheels, they are proper load rated wheels. They are BK866 wheels. They're made specifically for vans. They are rated at over 850 kilos per wheel, and the tyres on them are Michelin on the front and Continental on the back, and the tyres are also load rated. So there's no issues at all worrying about whether the wheels can take the weight of the van or anything. So there's no concerns with that. The wheels themselves do have quite a nice deep dish as well. You can see there the amount it cuts in before you get to any of the spokes on the wheels. And the wheels also have locking wheel nuts. Now going along the side, I've got the holes cut for the fridge. I've got upper and lower vents and the flue. There are a couple of extra pilot holes that were drilled in but weren't used. I was thinking of basically using two vents and top and bottom. I didn't proceed with that, so these holes have been rust treated and filled in. I just haven't touched the paintwork because that's just another thing that I was undecided whether to do on the van. There is 240 volt hookup there in case you are ever on hookup site, and in the back there is a 240 volt trip RCD with a 240 volt plug socket. That plug there is for the fridge because the fridge runs off gas, electric or battery. So if you are on hookup, you can always plug just a 4-way adapter into the other socket and run whatever you need to. So as I say, I've got the load rated wheels all round. The tyres are good on them as well. In the front, I've changed the seats out for leather Audi TT seats. They're in really nice condition, very little wear on any of them. The bolsters aren't split, but obviously there is a little bit of wear, but that's just because these seats are probably about 15 years old themselves. But there's no rips, there's no tears, and they are in generally very good condition, as you can see by the passenger seat as well there. Now, both of these seats have been fitted on FASP swivel bases, and they're bolted onto the actual swivels. Now, because the seats are out of a 3-door vehicle, it makes flipping the seats around really easy. And just tilt the seat forward, and then the seat just spins all the way around to face the back. As you see, you can see that was what, less than 10 seconds to get the chair flipped all the way around, and now that's facing into the back of the van. To get it back again, you just flip the seat forward, twist the seat round, and it clicks into place. And there you go. So that's like literally 5 seconds, and the chair is facing the back of the van or in the front. Now the driver's one is also on a swivel base, and thankfully you don't have to release the handbrake to twist the driver's seat round. A lot of the swivel bases, they're that low, you need to release the handbrake just to be able to twist the seat, but thankfully the driver's seat turns around and you don't need to twist it. Now the mileage on the van, it might sound high to some, but it was almost as high when I bought it. It's 246,500 and spare change. I bought it when there was literally about 3,000 miles ago, and the mileage didn't concern me in the slightest because the van came with a really good history. And just to be sure, when I did buy it, I also had all the belts changed inside, the water pump, everything like that and changed, just to be sure, just for peace of mind. Now on the other side, on the sliding door, I've fitted a opening window. It's very much like a site style opening window. I've replaced the side step. The van didn't actually even have a side step, so that's a brand new Van X side step, and under there all the paintwork has been rust treated as well. I have replaced the sliding roller for the door, so literally with a finger slides that easily compared to a lot of the other vans where you're literally having to jerk them down so far to get them open or closed. That just slides nice and easily like that. Kitchen wise, I have a 3-burner hob with a drainer and a sink. The sink is on a micro switch tap that just drains down, straight down, and the drainer also drains down, and that goes down into the waste runners and generally down into a waste container underneath. I normally also have a 25 litre 5-gallon water container there as well, so that's the water pump for the water container. So I've designed this pretty much for off-grid camping, but with it having hookup, it can be used either or really. So under there on the top shelf, that's where I would normally keep pots, pans, plates, frying pan, this, that, the other, just general cooking utensils and storage area. In the middle cupboard, I have a metal lined 6 kilo gas locker. All of the sides have been completely lined with metal sheeting, including the door as well. This has been signed and certified by a caravan motorhome safety engineer who has provided me with a certificate of compliance for insurance purposes. You don't need one for insurance purposes, but I wanted to be sure that everything was done right, and I wanted to have it safety signed, and I do have that certificate in place. So rather than just the smaller lockers that a lot of the vans have, this fits a full 6 kilo bottle, and that'll last forever. And then in the final cupboard, I have the 3-burner hob, and underneath there is a grill, and that's where there is also all of the gas connections, the stopcock, and the gas safety dropout hole. Now, where the bottle is next in the cupboard next door, there's a huge cutout there. So if there were any leaks, and of which there aren't, it has been safety tested and certified. But if there were any leaks, the gas would literally just fall through the hole, head over there, and fall straight out the dropout hole because gas is heavier than air. So that's the kitchen side. I say there's metal splashbacks on the back as well, just to be sure you're not getting any fat or grease or anything on the carpeted ply. But it's a really nice 3-burner hob. I haven't had any issues with that. It just fires up first time without issues. Now opposite that, I have a 3-way fridge. The 3-way fridge runs off 12-volt battery when the van is running, also runs off gas and 240 electric. It's quite a good size fridge. I've been away for just shy of a week, and I had enough storage for plenty of food to last me beyond what I was going to be away for. So I say that's a really nice size fridge. It does have a little freezer compartment there as well, but it's mainly fridge use. You can't really get much in the freezer. But it's fully working, fully tested, fully certified, and because it's a gas fridge, it does also have a gas dropout hole beneath it as well. Above it is storage space for cupboard, for cans, food, bread, eggs, this, that, the other. This cupboard is deceptively deep. It goes all the way back to the deep panel at the back. It's big enough to hold probably about 25-30 cans of food, pot noodles, soups, this, that, the other, as well as, I say it's big enough to hold a full-size loaf of bread, or even the taller cans of the thicker, chunkier soup type stuff. So plenty of storage food up there, and then there's just a little extra storage space there just for getting stuff up and out of the way while you're in the van, just to clear some floor space. Now underneath the fridge, I've made the fridge high enough so it actually houses a portaloo underneath it. That has just been there just in case it was ever going to be needed for emergency use. I don't think it actually has been used. The portaloo itself is sat on a couple of blocks just to raise it an inch off the floor, because again there is a gas dropout hole underneath there, so if there were any issues with the fridge itself, any gas would fall down and fall out the dropout hole. It has been signed and certified though, and there are no issues with the fridge, and I can confirm it works 100% fine. So behind the fridge, that's where I've got the hookup for the 240 volt electric and the switches. Panelling wise, all the panels have been carpeted in black carpet, including the headlining as well. The headlining, I've put 2 LED switches down in the middle. Those are both 3-watt LED, and they are really bright. I've also got LED strip lights. There's 4 strip lights, 2, 3 and 1 above the fridge, 4. They work off remote control, and they are multicoloured lights as well. So I've used those later on in the evening when I don't want the van so bright. You can just adjust the brightness right down and bring it down to a more comfortable level. Entertainment wise, I have a full 22-inch Bosch 12 volt TV fitted. It is a proper Bosch TV remote control, it's not just one of the cheap supermarket type ones. So it is a proper branded 12 volt TV. I've got that on a swivel mount so it'll pull out for easier viewing, and behind there I've got a battery voltage meter, your cigarette style charger point and your USB charge points. When I go away I normally just take a laptop away, plug the laptop charger into the cigarette lighter because I've bought an adapter for it, and that's generally been my entertainment while I've been away. So that just flips back into place again, and there's a lock behind it just to stop it swinging about while you're driving. I've just put a little hook there and that just locks into the TV. So bed wise, being 6'3" myself, I wanted to be sure that the bed was going to actually fit me. I didn't want any feet or legs dangling off the side, and I also wanted to use the van as a van at times and to be able to use loading space in between. That's why I didn't go with a rock and roll bed setup, because as soon as you put a rock and roll bed on one side and your units down the other, you can't then walk from the back door all the way down the van into the front. I wanted to have that access. I wanted to be able to walk literally from the driver's seat all the way down to the back door without any issues or obstructions, and it also means that if I was picking up any larger materials, woods, plies, this, that, the other, I'll still be able to get them in the van rather than having to rearrange everything inside the van and just to be able to squeeze stuff in. So I'd say it's really nice big loading space still in here. I've had full larder, fridge and freezer in here before with the entire setup as it is, and there's no issue, so it still gives a nice big usable space, but the bed itself is really nice. As it sits there, it's just set up as a couch. It's really easy to pull out. I've made it on full slats, and this front bar pulls out to the width of the cupboards to make it into a double. As it is at the moment though, if you were just away on your own, you could literally just plonk that one on the floor and you've got yourself a full single bed. Or you could pull the bar out just a little bit if you just wanted that little bit of space, but without going the full double width. And then you could have that cushion behind that one, and that just gives that little bit of extra width, but still space to be able to squeeze through behind the cupboards if you still needed to. Or if you want the full double width, I'll just set the camera up and I'll show you how easy it is to make it into a double. Right, so there's the van made up into the double. It takes literally less than a minute to do so. It's got support legs. I've just put the middle one on at the moment, but it does have another two there for either side as well, and that keeps it nice and supported and sturdy. And so the width of this is getting towards the size of like a 3/4 double, so it's getting close to actually a near full size double. As you can see there, it's really nice, really wide. No issues with lengthwise or widthwise. So I'm 6'3" and I've still got plenty of space as well. There's no feet dangling over the edge or anything, so there shouldn't be any issue squeezing anybody in. And then when you finish with it, it just, again, all the cushions just fold back up, the bed slats slide straight back in, and again in 30 seconds you've got your couch sorted rather than your bed. So I'll just fold this up. I'll leave the camera running while I fold it up just so you can see how quickly it is to put it away. There we go, there's the bed away and back into a couch. So as you can see there, that was maybe what, 20-30 seconds, and you've got a double bed put back away and back into a fully usable 3/4 seater couch. So I found the bed really comfy, a hell of a lot more comfortable than the rock and roll bed that I did put a test lie on. I just didn't think I'd find that really comfortable to sleep with, so I decided to try and make my own. And I've basically wanted the comforts of a caravan inside a van, so that's why I've tried to squeeze as much in as I can that is just going to give those little extra comforts rather than just having to rely on hard boards, barely any cushions, this, that, the other. Now underneath the bed there is plenty of storage space. Under there I've got the 110 amp battery, I've got all of the items switched individually, and in the far corner there's a solar panel charge controller and the fuse panel. So there's a huge amount of storage space under the bed there. There's an additional storage space there. That's more, I've just used that for like washing up bowls, taking extra water away. Then underneath the bed, this front panel flips down, and that gives access to, again, under the bed storage. But I've also got some pull-out drawers underneath there as well. And you can see how deep that tub is. That goes all the way back to the side of the panel. And I've got another one under there as well. So there really shouldn't really be any sort of running out of storage space at all. So yeah, that's pretty much the van. I'll go around the bits on the outside just to show you it as well. As I say, the van does have a 110 amp battery in there, and then on the top I've also got a 60 watt solar panel, so that's always going to be topping up the battery underneath it. So in theory you shouldn't really be running out of power unless you're running something that's extremely power hungry. So I say I haven't had that issue before, so the battery's always been enough for me with the solar panel topping it up as you go. Now, bodywork wise, the van is pretty good. It's not full of dents, any major issues. It does have the usual bits of rust bubbling around the arches. Nothing too bad, and that could probably just be ground back and rust treated and painted. Probably the worst sections around the filler cap, but again it's not that bad. There's a little scratch there on the door, scratch above the filler cap, and just one beneath it around there as well. The front arch itself again has a little bit of rust on it, but not that much. The front side's okay, it starts on the middle. But the main issue with this front arch is that very front corner looks as though whether a previous owner's had it jacked up and it slipped off the jack or something, or what, I don't know. But that arch is ever so slightly pushed in. The door isn't affected, the door isn't out of alignment or anything. But it's, again, I'm just being straightforward and up front. I haven't touched the bodywork on the van. I was undecided whether to have it professionally sorted and sprayed, because I was quoted £1,000 to have all of the issues sorted and a full colour respray, which isn't bad considering the size of the vehicle. But I've just decided to leave it as it was. I was undecided whether to go with it or not, and since I bought the high top, all my money's been ploughed into the high top instead. But as I said, there's a couple of little rust bits here and there, but nothing major, nothing structural, nothing that it would fail its MOT on. So there's a little patch there beneath the passenger door, and then you've got a couple of scratches around that area. Now some of them would rub down and spray back in. It just depends on how fussy you are about having a scratch on the vehicle. There's a little scratch there next to the indicator. That's it for the passenger side though. You can see the colour itself isn't bad at all considering the paint's 14 years old. It's not massively faded, there aren't any real cloudy haze spots, as you can see here. The colour is still quite a nice shiny red. You can see some nice reflections in the paint. So as you can see, it's the panels are pretty straight. There's not much damage to any of them really. It's just the odd little scrape and scratch and the rust around the arches. Again, on the driver's side it's pretty much the same story. You've got a little bit of bubbling around the arch and around that bottom corner, but again it can probably just be ground back, rust treated and painted. Or you can even go down the route of replacing the arch. You can get from there down to around about there for £20 off eBay, and it's just a case of fitting it and spraying it how you want. Now the driver's side, next to the driver's door there's a rust scab there on the panel. Again, it could just be ground back and painted in, but it's just something else that I haven't bothered with. And there's like a small patch there, that's not rust, that looks as though that's been a previous repair and they just haven't painted it back in. So I say that is nice and solid, that's not rusty, it just looks as though it's a previous repair and they haven't coloured it. Now at the rear arch, That's more of a scrape rather than rust, but it has gone through the paint, so it probably will need treating at some point. And again, there's a little bit of bubbling just down at the bottom. But again, it's not too bad. I've seen them where they've been rusted through completely, and they still don't cause an issue on the MOT. It's just more cosmetic more than anything else. But it's not bad at all. I'm probably making it sound or look worse than it is by giving close-ups. I say take a few steps back, and it's not bad at all. On the back doors are pretty good condition. Again, you've got a couple of scratches that have gone through the paint. You've got one there and one just beneath the VW sign. But other than that, the back doors are pretty okay. And again, the paint, this panel could do with a polish up. I've been told if I got a machine polisher and got some rub and compound, it would probably come up a hell of a lot better than what it is. Again, it's just something that I haven't had the money or the time to do, so it is what it is. But it's still not bad condition really. It's just what you would expect for 14-year-old paint on a van that's probably been left outside every day. But again, it's still, the panels themselves still do have a nice shine to them on the top. You can see some nice reflections in them. So the paint, although it could be brighter, I've seen a hell of a lot more faded and hazy red paint works in the past as well. And as a machine polish would probably bring it up nicely. So finally, I'll show the engine bit. As it is the 2.5, as the intercooler also shows there. Only the 102 horsepower came with the intercooler. The high top I've got the 2.5, but it's only the 88 horsepower, so that doesn't have the intercooler on the top. Now when I bought the van, I had all of the belts replaced, the timing belt, the fan belt, the pumps, water pump, everything's been swapped out and replaced for peace of mind. I've swapped out the starter motor because starting it was getting a little bit sluggish at times and the battery was like new. So I've replaced the starter motor and now it fires up instantly within a second or two of turning the key every time. I haven't had any issues with the mechanics of the van. As I say, it's just been general servicing and I've had that done pretty much as soon as I bought the van. As I say, I've driven it down here and I don't have a belly pan on the van. And as you can see, the floor underneath the van is perfectly dry. There's no spots, there's no water, there's no oil, which goes to show the van doesn't have any leaks. Because unfortunately, I don't live in a place like this. This is just somewhere I've driven down to take the video of the van. As I say, the floor underneath it's perfectly dry, perfectly fine, which goes to show it's not pouring out any fluids, oils, waters, this, that, the other. So yeah, that's pretty much the van round up. If you do have any questions about the video or about the van, please feel free to ask. I will always reply to any comments I do receive on the van, or have a look at my channel. I'm doing a full conversion of the high top, and I'm trying to document the entire conversion of the high top on my YouTube channel as well, so feel free to have a look at that. As I say, the high top is the only reason I'm even contemplating partnering with this van. If it wasn't for the high top, I'd be quite happy to keep this for a number of years to come, because I just haven't had any issues with it and I've enjoyed the actual process of doing the conversion myself. That's another reason why I've also bought the high top though, because I enjoyed the conversion process. I thought I'll do another one. So yeah, that is the van. As I say, if you do have any questions, any issues, any comments, please feel free to leave them. I will always reply to anything that I do receive on my channel. And as I say, this van is going to be on eBay, so we'll see who's going to be the lucky winner and who's going to take this van on its next adventures. Hope you found the video useful. You never know, I might have inspired some people who have also bought the van but have been thinking of different alternative layouts to put inside the van. So hopefully the video's been useful to some people and come in handy for anybody who might be interested in the van but might live that little bit too far away, who can't just come and view it. Hopefully this full walk around will give all the information and as many pictures and close-ups as anybody would need to be able to make an informed decision about the van. So as I say, feel free to have a look at my channel. I'm also converting the high top on there, and get back to me if you have any questions or comments. Cheers! Well, I just got back, and just so you can see it's a genuine reason for sale, that's the van I have on the driveway. Next to that I have a diesel Lupo that I use as my daily driver. Then next to that I've got my VW T4 high top. I can't justify having a high top, a car and a van, so I'm going to be selling the van. using the Lupo as a daily driver, and the high top's going to be my camper of choice for when I go away, just for that extra bit of height room. So I say, if you want to follow my conversion of the high top, have a look at my YouTube channel, and if you have any questions about the tin top, please feel free to ask. Cheers.